Hello everyone, it's Roman from Natively, and in today's tutorial we will set up push notifications with a OneSignal into our website and convert it to mobile app. So there was a few significant updates from the OneSignal. So we will start with already pre-built web page. It will look like this. We will have the login button, request permission, and also send push notification action. So at this point, you have already set up your app in the Natively web application, and I assume you have already made at least one build at that point. First of all, we need to go to the features, notification, and click this switch to enable push notifications. After that, you will also need to enable notification for iOS if you need iOS app. Here is one more option, a new one named automatically request push notification on app launch. So it's specifically doing what it's saying on that. So after the user launching your application, it will show a native pop-up with requesting permission or push. Or if you are leaving it disabled, you will need to call this action on your own. So in our case, we will leave it unchecked. After that, we will need to enter our OneSignal app identifier. So to create your app, you need to first sign into your OneSignal account, then click new application. Let's name it Natively SDK. And first we will start from Android and click next. Okay, we already created the OneSignal application, and now we need to set up push notification for Android. For that purpose, you need to click this link and you will be navigated to your Firebase account. Here you need to add your new project. Let's name it Natively SDK. Then click continue. You can disable this one, you don't need it, and create project. Okay, so after your project was successfully created, click continue button and you will be navigated to your project overview. Here click the settings. Go to the project settings, find cloud messaging tab. And in this step, you will have Firebase Cloud Message API v1 enabled. If it will be not enabled, you need to enable it. You need to click on a Manage Service Account link, and you will be navigated to your Google Cloud application. So it can take a few seconds to load your service account here. So just wait a bit and reload the page a few times and it will appear. Then you need to click Manage Keys and add key, create new key, add JSON, create. After creating this key, it will be automatically downloaded to your computer. You need to switch back to OneSignal setup. And here inside JSON, you just need to upload this file. Okay, save and continue on native Android. And then copy this app identifier and click done. Then navigate back to Natively and enter here your OneSignal app ID. In this field, you need to provide the permission description for iOS, and also Apple reviewer, when you will submit your app to the App Store, might check this text, but we will leave it as it is for now. And also here we have the notification custom sound. I already prepared some custom notification sound here just in order to demonstrate that functionality, and click save. So after that, we have already set up our Android platform, but we need also to set up iOS. Click on Apple iOS here, and there will be two types of authentication keys. You need to use P8. So to generate the certificate, you will need, of course, Apple developer account. And in Apple developer account, you need to go to your account and then click keys. And here click plus button. And the main difference between P12 certificate and P8 certificate is that their limitation for P8 or for a count of paid certificates. So it can be just like 2 certificates on your account. So as you saw, I already have 2 on my account, but when you will create it will have enabled this checkbox. You will need just to check this checkbox, write some name, click continue, and on this page you will have the active download button. You need to download this certificate, and I would suggest you to store it somewhere for future apps in order to not generate a new one. I already have this file. I just need to go to the OneSignal, click upload, choose the file, and I have this auth key. I need to upload it, and then it will ask me 3 more fields. First one is a key ID. It can be found here. Okay, the next field is team ID. You can find it same here on the developer account. Here is our key. Just copy it and paste here. So Apple bundle identifier, you already did on the step where you have set up the distribution. So for iOS, you just switch to iOS build, copy this value and go back here, paste it here, and then say continue. Select native iOS. If you have noticed, your app ID is similar to what we had on Android, so we just click done, and we have set up iOS and Android for push notifications. And now let's switch back to our website. And if you're using Bubble, you will need to enter app ID and API key inside of our plugin. And if you're using JavaScript SDK, you can check our documentation in guides, integration, push notification, and JavaScript SDK. So here's basically, we have already built some function to send the request to OneSignal, and here you will need to provide the app ID to send this request. Otherwise, the secret key or app ID can be done in your web server. For example, if you're sending push notification there, or any no-code tool like make.com or Zapier. So you basically don't need it to provide this value on the front-end side. You can use it on some backend service. Okay, so let's set up our plugin. We already entered the app ID inside of our native account. We just need to put it here, and then, okay, let's better put it here. And then we need to find the API key. So to find API key, you need to go to the settings, key and IDs, and here you have the REST API key. We're just copying this value, going back, pasting here, and that's pretty it. So at this point, we have already set up our OneSignal account. We have prepared everything from the natively side. Let's switch back to the natively, then go to the publish, and at this point, you just need to rebuild your application. Okay, so at this point we have built our application and downloaded the APK file. You need to install, and here make sure to click install anyway, otherwise you will not be able to launch this application. So it takes a few seconds to install your app. After it's done, we're clicking open. Okay, so after we have launched our application, we see the first section is to login. We're clicking login button, and as you can see, we have login with a user with a mail Roman Samo.io, and here is a random UUID was generated by OneSignal. It's our player ID where we will send push notifications. So at the second step, we are requesting the permission to send push. Okay, now permission is accepted, and after that we can send push notification. After first install, when you will debug, it takes some time for OneSignal to send this push notification, and we have relaunched the app and it fixed an issue. So it will not affect the production application, but for some reason an APK after the first launch the push notification will not come, but it's only after you have just set up your app. So basically just kill your application and launch it one more time. So here I'm clicking on the A button, and as you can see, I have received the push notification from my app. So we have 6 different type of action here. Let me demonstrate each of them. So the first one is sending push without the URL that we just sent. So basically, when user will tap on this push, nothing will change. The second one is sending push with a URL inside, and when user tap it, it will open the app and then navigate the user to the page which was inside of this push notification. And also sending push notification with some custom sound. So for Android, it will require to create a separate OneSignal channel. We will also see how to do it in the next few minutes. And 3 other action, and they're pretty similar. They're not existing inside of JavaScript SDK, but they're just allowing the user from Bubble to send push notification for multiple player ID. So basically, the player ID is the identifier of your user current session. So what I mean basically is that when the user installed your application and launched it for the first time, OneSignal will generate the unique player identifier, which you can save into your database and send their push notification with that player ID. So we are highly recommending to save this player identifier on each user login. So as you can see on my screen, we have this login button here, and let's check what happened inside. So first of all, we are just signing in our user, and then we are calling get OneSignal player ID from the natively push notification element. So before you are actually starting working with push notification, you need to add push notification element onto your page. Or if you are using JavaScript SDK, let me show documentation. You just need to create the native notification object and call the get OneSignal ID. And in this callback, you will receive a response which will contain the player ID that we saw. So we are doing the same on Bubble, but because the Bubble has a plugin which is basically working on the top of JavaScript SDK. So there actually no difference between the Bubble and regular web application. It can be WordPress or Shopify, anywhere, because our SDK is written on JavaScript and it works on any website. So after we have signed in our user, we need to request from a native app user player ID. After doing this, in the callback event, you can receive this player ID, and you will need to save it inside of your user. So it was a first step when we were logging our user. On the second step, we are requesting permission for push notification. So it's same action from the natively push notification element or natively push notification object. In JavaScript SDK, this function named request permission, and it has 2 options, fallbacks to settings and also the callback. In the callback, you will receive the response with the status true or false. And in Bubble, you will have the same in your state. So after we requesting the push notification, the state of element natively push notification will be changed. So it's here same true or false or yes or no. Okay, I think you noticed this request permission open settings. So basically the feature works only on iOS right now. And when the user don't allow the push notification permission, instead of just ignoring user action, we are showing the pop-up which saying that you need to enable push notification. You can enable it in settings, and this alert will be displayed, and user can click open settings button and will be navigated to the push notification settings. Okay, it's pretty basic setup here. And after that we have this section with all our type of sending push notification. Let's start from the first one. So we are calling the general action named OneSignal, user single player ID. And here you have title, it will be just simple title. We have subtitle for iOS. Here is a message body, and this is a redirect URL where you put the URL that needs to be opened after user clicking on your push notification. Also, you can use OneSignal templates. So you will need to provide the player ID where you want to send the push. So here, for example, in my database, I have set up it in such way that I have the player ID field inside of my user. So basically, what we are doing here is just selecting the type user and then selecting the current user and converting it to a list, and selecting the player ID field. Okay, here we have the override app ID, just simple use case. For example, you have some different application but using one website, and this application will have the separate, OneSignal application. So for example, one application for rider and one for driver, but you are using the same website, but you wanted to have this app separately in App Store. You can override the app ID for a specific action to send the push into a different app. But basically, we're using the app ID from the plugins app ID you have provided here. Okay, so here the custom sound settings. For iOS, it works pretty simple. You just need to write natively .wav and that's it. But for Android, you need to create the channel ID. So let's switch back to the OneSignal, go to the settings, messaging, then going a bit down, and here's Android notification channels. We need to add group. Let's name it sound channel, click submit, and here we're adding the channel name it sound channel custom or whatever, setting the importance to high. Here in custom, we just need to write natively without VAV, just natively, and then click create. So after that, I recommend you to reinstall your application. So the changes with the channel ID will be applied. So let's remove it. And also forgot to do one important thing, is to go to the sound channel and copy this channel identifier. Then navigate back here, and somewhere in our sound action, we need to put it here. And also for multiple player ID action here. Okay, so now in our app, let's clean our push. We are clicking button C, and notifications are coming with a custom sound. Unfortunately, I can demonstrate it on the video, but we'll assume it works. So we have started a build for iOS, and while we're waiting, I just want to mention one thing for JavaScript SDK. So here in our documentation, you can find very useful link to the OneSignal documentation, where you can go to the REST API reference, and here the push notification, create push notification, and there you can find all fields that can be customizable. starting from title, text, messages, subtitle, and also custom sound effect. So for iOS, it's just a name, as we did for on Bubble. For iOS, it's just a name of the file, and for Android, it will be channel. Yeah, Android channel ID. And yeah, that's pretty it. Okay, so we have finally built our iOS app. Let's launch it. And the same as Android, we are signing in into the account. We see our player ID. We need to request push permission. And in this step, I will show you this setting option. So I just don't allow the push. I'm requesting it. And we see a pop-up, open settings. You currently have notification turned off. So you can open the settings and enable this push notification and go back to the app. So yeah, after reloading, we can see that there is a permission, and now we can send push notification. I will click a button here, and here, as you can see, we have received this push notification. It didn't display in-app banner because I'm sharing my screen right now, and Apple is not allowing that. But if you not have the screen sharing feature, the notification banner will be displayed on the top of the screen. Okay, so let's now test the option B. We are setting the push with a URL. So here is our push notification with the URL. I can kill my app here, go to the status bar, then click on my push, and it will open the URL which is inside of that push notification. So we are going back. Okay, and that's pretty it. I hope this was a useful tutorial, and have a nice no coding.